Hello everyone, welcome to ACE Online and welcome to daily current affairs session. So, we will discuss the 12th current affairs, that is today. These are the articles that we are going to cover today. We have a lot of articles from Indian Express, right, and issue based. So, first one, quantum science. So, this is from the Hindu itself. This is part of science and technology. Then Lok Sabha speaker, a very good article from the Indian Express explained page, right. This is part of polity. This is part of polity. Then again cabinet ministers. So, related to the cabinet ministers, this is again part of polity, and this was also collected from the Indian Express explained page. Then comes about the heat waves. Previously we have seen about just what actually are heat waves. Now we will see the issue of notifying it under the Disaster Management Act. So, this is again taken from the Indian Express itself. This is part of environment or disaster management as well, heat waves, right. Then Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, we will see Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana of urban as well as rural. This is taken from the Hindu itself, right. This is part of governance. Then Atal Innovation Mission, again this is part of science and technology. Then some factual pointers and practice questions. I hope my audio as well as video is clear. In case of any issue, you can ask here. Yes, very good evening, Santosh, Srinath and Keshav. So, let us start the discussion. Let us start with a discussion with the first article, that is quantum science. Quantum science. The context is United Nations has decided to declare the next year 2025 as the International Year of Quantum Technology. Quantum science and technology. In 2023 International Year of Pulses, right, and in 2024 we have International Year of Cameloids, that is camels, the race of camels to protect them, right. And 2025 next year we are going to have the International Year for Quantum Science and Quantum Technology. This is the context why we have taken this article from the Hindu. Now, what is quantum science? At present we are having lot of other technologies like binary, the computers measures in 1 or 0, right. So, based on the studies or software or whatever, we are studying in a bigger manner, little bit a lesser accurate manner. For example, if you want to study an organ, a human organ inside our body, say for example it is kidney, we have not gone with the atomic level, very micro level, we did not went to that level, right. We are just studying it as an organ, the microscopic element we are doing it, but we are not doing at the very micro atomic element. We are not using any atomic technology to scan it and all, we have not developed yet, right. It is emerging. So, quantum science is an emerging field in the physics as well as the chemistry, where the elements, the matter or the objects we are going to study using the atomic level. Subatomic means at protons, neutrons, electrons level. So, we are going, they are very micro, lesser than microorganisms like 10⁻⁻8. So, such type of very minute elements we are going to study, and this can be applied in agriculture, this can be applied in space, this can be applied in the health. So, it is still emerging, we just need to understand how it is calculating all these complexities. We have different things to different fields, so you no need to worry about it, right. So, the units of measuring quantum technology is qubits. So, at the atomic level, micro atomic level, we are going to study all the matters. You take tractor. So, even the tractor will be manufactured at the very micro subatomic level, where each and every part of tractor will be designed with a lot of accuracy, right. Like precise medicine also we are going to deploy. So, this is called as the quantum technology or quantum science, where we are studying the elements through the protons, neutrons and electrons which are subatomic level, right. So, this is the definition. Now, we have launched the National Quantum Mission. The government has, the article also talk about which was given in the Hindu, it also talks about the national quantum mission launched by the Indian government, right. So this is being implemented by Department of Science and Technology, not related to communication or any other thing, rather this is launched by Department of Science and Technology under Ministry of Science and Technology, very important one. This was launched in 2023, last year itself it was launched with the total cost of 6,000 crore. This will also be asked in the statement based questions, right, especially in state PSEs they are asking the budgets and all. So how much it is allocated and the year time span also. The time span will be of 2023 to 2031, approximately 8 years they have given to achieve this, right. And what is the aim? The aim is to promote research and development innovation in the quantum technology. It is still emerging, there is a very less technology or very less startups has been involved in the quantum technology. So that is why government want to encourage, government want to promote these quantum technologies, right. So this is the objective of the mission. With this launch of specific mission for the quantum technology, India has become the 7th country. So only 7 countries till now has launched specific missions to develop the quantum technology, right, and India has become the 7th after USA, Austria, Finland, France, Canada and China, right. So this is about the mission. Now there are certain objectives of the mission. What elements it want to achieve? These are the special features, these are all the aim, but what it actually want to achieve. So we have seen that the time span of this is 2023 to 2031, that is 8 year span was given, right, correct. Kadir, may I know what is the motive of these classes? Kadir, this is the current affairs classes for all the exams and this is not an analysis based, like they are required for especially civil services, we require lot of analysis and all, but we are not taking. It is just for objective examination, whatever, like civil service objective examination, prelims examination or IES, Indian Engineering Service, specifically you have 15 marks current affairs. So the last 85 to 100 questions are asked from current affairs. You can use for SSC CGL, you can use for SSC JE, RRB JE. For all exams together we are conducting the current affairs by collecting the articles from different newspapers as well as from the Press Information Bureau. So this is the motive of the class, right. Yes, correct, Santosh. This year we are celebrating International Year for Cameloid, fine. Yeah, so to develop the quantum computers with 50 to 1000 qubits, currently computers are using 0 or 1 to develop to study any of the languages, right, whatever inputs we give, but now they are using the qubits, which are the units which measures at the subatomic level, right. So they want to develop at least 50 to 1000 qubits in the next 8 years, which the time span, right, and also it aims to secure satellite based quantum communications. Currently whatever the satellites we are launching, they are not at the quantum level, they are at the normal electromagnetic spectrum and all, but now we want to develop in such a way that the satellites will study at the subatomic level, that means they can observe any of the planets at the very micro level, at the atomic level. So this is also one of the objective, and ground stations will be at 2000 kilometers range, that means from ground till 2000 kilometers into the space we can launch the quantum satellite. So this is the objective. It also aims to develop quantum communication, right. Now communications are mostly done using the radio waves technology or maybe infrared range, but now they want to go into the quantum technology, right. So these are all the objectives, the same thing, intercity quantum key, all these are some of the objectives of the National Quantum Mission. Any doubts in this? Yes, next a very important article from the polity subject. So static part you might have already done. If you people who have already done the static part, it is very easy for them to understand, right. But if you are new, if you haven't covered the static part, then yes, you need to understand in a little bit more detail. So the context is the Indian Express article talks about that the current government at the center, recently under Narendra Modi ji, they have NDA has formed the government, but the post of speaker is a very important one. That is why there are contenders, not only just BJP but TDP and Janata Dal United, those parties, coalition parties were also asking for the speaker post. That is why the article about speaker was published, why it is important, how it is how the speaker is elected, how he can be removed, all these things has been clearly discussed and we will also discuss here, right. Yes. let us see who is actually Lok Sabha speaker. Like for any classroom, you take about your school days, you will be having a CPL, class leader, right. So similarly, to manage, to maintain the classroom, or you can take it as a house, to manage the house in a proper disciplinary manner, one person should be there, and that person is called as the Lok Sabha speaker, right, and he is assisted by, there is also assistant class leader if class leader is absent. Similarly, we are also having a deputy speaker who will assist him. So whenever speaker is absent for any personal reasons or for any official works, so deputy speaker will takes care, right. So these were mentioned under the article 93, a very important one. Article 93 talks about the role of, or the what you call post of speaker as well as deputy speaker, right. And the article says that as soon as after the formation of the Lok Sabha, the speaker has to be elected. So speaker cannot be a person who is not from the Lok Sabha member. For example, there is a minister who can be appointed as a minister even without the elections. Say for example, any person can be appointed as a cabinet minister, right, even without elections to the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. But in the within next 6 months, this person has to be elected as member of Lok Sabha or either Rajya Sabha, right. Then only his ministry will stay. So till 6 months he can stay even without election to the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. But speaker mandatorily to be appointed as a the speaker of Lok Sabha, he or she has to get elect before that. That means he should be the part of Lok Sabha member. He has to pass, he has to win in one of the seats in the Lok Sabha member, then only he will be appointed as a speaker. So this is one important point to be understand, right. So he presides over the meetings whenever Lok Sabha meets. He is the one who will be acted as a leader of the house, or not leader of the house actually, leader of the house is prime minister, or he is a presiding officer, like a class leader. He is a presiding officer who sits there and manages the, you can see here, so there is a separate seat for him, and then he manages the house, right. He manages the orderly manner and conduct the business. Business here means the work of Lok Sabha is clearly like how much time to be spent, what are all the activities should be conducted in that particular day. All these things are taken by the speaker itself. Such a huge role the speaker has in the Lok Sabha. Now yes, this person will allocate the time as well as disciplinary order, everything is managed by the speaker itself. Now how the speaker is elected, how a speaker can be elected. The speaker can be elected through the simple majority, like whoever all the members of Lok Sabha, whoever are present in that day, at least 50% of persons, 51 actually, not 50%, 50 majority of the people will elect among themselves. For example, there are 543 seats in the Lok Sabha, and on that particular day, when even after the elections 543 people have been elected, but on that particular day during the election only 500 were present, not 543. So they just need to get 251 votes. They no need to get, what is the majority of this, 250 plus also 22, 272 is the actual majority that we need to get to form a government. But to be elected as a speaker, you no need to worry about the absentees. Out of whatever the present on that particular day, 50% plus 1, that is 251 seats has to be 50% plus 1 seat. So that has to get the vote, So 50% plus 1 vote to be get to elect as a speaker. So it is a simple majority. There is no require of any special majorities, right. I hope you are following. In case of any doubt, please do let me know. This is the method among the Lok Sabha members immediately after the Lok Sabha elections, when the first day of the house, among the members whoever are present on that particular day, they vote and elect the Lok Sabha speaker. Mostly whoever forms the government, forms the government, they do have majority, and of course they will vote and they will select among themselves, right. So inherently speaker is from the party who is ruling, but that is not the mandatory. Even the opposition members can also be given the speaker post, but this is what we are following conventionally. The government, whatever the government formed, from that Lok Sabha members itself, the speaker is being elected, right. And there is no specific qualification, like there are certain qualifications for electing to the Lok Sabha, that is 25 years of age, citizen. So all whatever the Lok Sabha member eligibility, the same eligibility is there for speaker. There is no extra any specific eligibility condition. It is just that he has to be elected to the Lok Sabha, that's all. No other specific condition or qualification is mentioned in the constitution for the election of the speaker, right. Now the term will ends immediately after the 5 years, like 5 years once the Lok Sabha is over the time period, immediately the term also ends, right. He will be acted as a temporary speaker until the new speaker is being appointed, right. So this is the thing. Now what about the removal? He can resign if he want, he can resign it to the deputy speaker, he can submit it to the deputy speaker that I am resigning, or the house itself can also remove it. The motion of no confidence can be passed against the speaker, but at least before 14 days he has to given with the reason, they need to submit it that this is the reasons we are removing you. So a no confidence motion should be passed against the speaker in the Lok Sabha. For this it required the effective majority, not simple majority, rather it is called as a effective majority. Effective majority, understand this. For election it is simple majority, but for removal it is effective majority. Here in this there will be 543 members, the total strength of the house is 543, but 23 seats are vacant, let us say vacant, that means they have resigned or they have been removed by anti-defection law, right. So they may be, even though the total strength when the election has happened 543, but 23 seats are vacant, right. So that means that current strength is 543 minus 23, that means 520 members are there currently. The actual strength of the house is 543, but the current strength is 542, and let us say 20 people are absent on that particular day, these people are absent. Now the required majority to remove the speaker is 250, I mean at least half divided by 2, that is 250 plus 10, 260 plus 1. So 261 is required, that means they are not worried about the absentees, even absentees will also be included. So 520, there are 20 absentees, they are not being excluded. So we are not calculating for 500, rather we should calculate for 520 itself. That means 261 majority has to be passed, 261 members has to sign to remove the speaker. So here in effective majority we are only eliminating vacancies but not the absentees. In the simple majority we have excluded them. If they are absent, we are not considering them, we are just taking it as a 500 divided by 2 plus 1, but here they will include. So that is why all the people will come and present in the session. So even if they are absent, their numbers are considered, this 20 is also included, then only they have to get the majority. Yeah, very good evening Sahana, welcome to the session. So this is the process to remove the speaker, effective majority. Election is simple majority, but removal is effective majority in such a way that even absentees members will be considered as part of the calculating the majority, right. So this is the process to remove the speaker. Many students will confuse here. Any doubts in this? Do you have any doubts in this? Do let me know if you have any doubts. Okay, if not, then we will move to the powers of the speaker. So what are the powers of the speaker? We have seen the eligibility, like how it is elected and then how it is removed, we have seen, and what is the importance of the speaker also we have seen. Now we need to know about the powers of speaker, what are all the powers he or she do have, right. First thing, speaker maintains the discipline, like who will be speaking, who has to speak next, what are all the elements can be included, or if there is any abusive language, he will also stop the session. So all this discipline will be maintained by the speaker itself, and speaker does not usually vote in the proceedings. say for example a bill is being passed, right, for that all the 543 members will be participating, but speaker will not usually vote, he is not vote in the first instant. So 542 people only will vote in the passing the bill. If there is a equal number, right, 261 or 271 has supported the bill and 271 has not supported the bill, they are against the bill. So in such case, only in case of the clash, only if there is a equal voting, then only speaker will vote, not in the first instance. So that means he is a neutral person, he is neutral person, only when there is a requirement then only he will come and vote, right, only if it is matching equal votes, right. And speaker decides whether the bill is a money bill or not. For example, because money bill is the prerogative of Lok Sabha, money bill has to be introduced only in the Lok Sabha, it cannot be introduced in the Rajya Sabha. That is why this government may misuse this bill as well. Certain provisions can be added into the money bill and they can pass the bill in Lok Sabha itself. So Rajya Sabha will not have say. That is why the speaker will have the role, whether this is a money bill or this is not money bill or ordinary bill, whatever the bill type is decided by the speaker itself. But of course it will be subjected to the judicial proceedings. Someone can complain the speaker that complain in the Supreme Court that speaker is passing the bill with the money, giving the assent to money bill even if it is not a money bill. So they can file in the Supreme court, and Supreme Court in Quixoto Hollahan case clearly said that speaker's decision whether the bill is money bill or not is subjected to the judicial review. So judiciary will always be there, so you should not misuse the discretion power given it to you, right. So the speaker plays a key role in appointing the members to the parliamentary committees. We have a number of parliamentary committees, like parliamentary committees are the small group of committees which was established to advance the business, like to discussion. If any bill is to be introduced, before that it can be discussed by the opposition members as well as the government members, like both the people will be there, they will discuss if there is any provisions which are not good for the country, they will recommend to eliminate. So in such parliamentary committees the speaker will appoint the chairmen or the members, right. In some committees like business advisory committee and all, certain committees even speaker will become a member, and if speaker is member of any of the parliamentary committees, automatically he will be the chairman of the committee, right. So that is also important, fine. And under the anti-defection law, you might have listened many times, anti-defection law which was added by the 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act under 10th schedule of Indian Constitution, 10th schedule of Indian Constitution, right, 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act, they have added this anti-defection law, and whether the person is subjected to disqualification or not is also decided by the speaker under anti-defection law. So all these powers has been given to the speaker, right. Yes, approximately 24 parliamentary committees are there and they keeps changing, so there is no exact committees. And what is the role of deputy speaker, Jashwant? See, the deputy speaker is to assist the speaker if speaker is absent, right. In case if speaker is present, then deputy speaker is like a normal Lok Sabha member, he can vote as like other Lok Sabha members in the passage of bill and all. So whenever there is a speaker, deputy speaker is like a normal Lok Sabha MP, right. But yes, if speaker is absent, he went to foreign for some meetings and all, official meetings, or he is having the personal works, he is absent, then deputy speaker will occupy the speaker role and he has the same powers, right. So here the significance of deputy speaker is in case of absent of the speaker, this person will occupy. So in like a class, we have a classroom, there is a school lead or class leader. If class leader is absent, to maintain the same post, the deputy the assistant class leader will be there. Similarly, deputy speaker will occupy that position. So only in case of his absentee, this person will act as a speaker, just to assist in case of absence, this post was created, right. I hope this is clear. A deputy speaker, when he is sitting in the discussion, so this deputy speaker is not in the speaker position, then he is like a normal person only, he can vote, But if this deputy speaker is chairing the speaker position, then he cannot vote in the first instance, he can only vote in the second instances only, right. If he is not occupying, he is like a normal Lok Sabha member, there is no difference. Fine, I hope this is clear. Next one, about any doubts, if you have, please do let me know. In the discussion, we have seen the, I will show you one question also, very difficult question related to the speaker, we will solve at the end. If you have understood here, you need to apply your knowledge and you need to solve it, we will see at the end the question, right. Next, cabinet ministers, cabinet ministers, right. The context is President Draupadi Murmu has administered the oath to the Central Council of Ministers. So you might have followed this in the news. Recently, our cabinet ministers under the Prime Ministership of Narendra Modi ji has been swearing in by our President Draupadi Murmu. Now that is the context. The Indian Express article discuss in detail about the Council of Ministers. Alright. So who are the Council of Ministers? Let us understand, there is a 3 divisions of the democracy, the constitution in India. One is the legislature, right. These are the 3 divisions of the constitution, the governance that we have given. Legislature, one, and then executive, right, and then judiciary. So these are the 3 divisions of the governance, right. So legislature is the one which passes the law, that means rules are framed and are passed, that means giving assent to process any law, any rule, any regulation. This is the role of legislature. And executive, that is Council of Ministers and the government we call, right, Council of Ministers, cabinet ministers, IAS officers as well, the sub executive. This executive is one which implements the legislature law. Whatever the law passed by the legislature will be implemented by the executive, and judiciary will be there to test the activities of legislature and executive. Whatever the rules that are framing are in synchronous with the constitution, or whatever the excess governance that they are taking is constraining any of the rights of individuals. So judiciary is there to check legislature as well as executive, right. So these are the 3 organs of our Indian constitution, right. Now we, as this Council of Ministers who has signed, will be part of executive. This executive is the most important one which implements whatever the decisions taken are implemented by the executive. So this Council of Ministers is the one which is part of the executive, right, and this is headed by Prime Minister. The executive, the Council of Ministers which is executive, is headed by the Prime Minister, and all other ministers like Finance Minister or Defence Minister, all those ministers are appointed by President only on the recommendation of the Prime Minister. Prime Minister is appointed by the President based on the majority submission of the MPs who supports him, and once the Prime Minister is appointed, the President can only appoint them as a minister that was chosen by the Prime Minister itself, right. He has complete discretion to whom the portfolios can be given, to whom can be the minister beds can be given or appointed, right. So this is the core of the parliamentary system. Unlike the presidential system which USA has, this parliamentary system where the executive and legislature will work in a synchronity, right. The president is, the Prime Minister is part of the legislature also, but in USA the Biden, who is president, is not part of the legislature, he is completely having independent. He can appoint the ministers even who are not from the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, he can appoint anyone, his friends also can be appointed. So he has complete authority, but in parliamentary system of government, the members has to be both legislatures as well as part of the executive as well, right. So this is the thing. We have a nominal executive also, that is President, and real executive is Prime Minister, right. So this is about the Council of Ministers. So we have seen this also. Article 75 also clearly says that President cannot take any decision on discretion, he or she has to follow only what the decision of Council of Ministers are suggested. So President is just a nominal executive, that he will give the final assent, but whatever the decisions that are suggested by the Council of Ministers, he she or has to follow. There is no discretion, except in certain cases when the Council of Ministers are not there, and the appointment of the Prime Minister, when there is no party of having the majority, only in certain cases President has the discretion, else in all other cases he or she has to follow what Council of Ministers says, right. So now let us understand the difference between Council of Ministers. These are the Council of Ministers, that means all the ministers who are appointed by the Prime Minister to manage the departments. We have Finance Department, we have Defence Ministry, we have Law Ministry, we have Power Ministry, we have number of ministries. So these are the 80 to 85 members who are appointed as a Council of Ministers. So this is a big circle. Out of that there will be Cabinet Ministers. This is a small circle. Within 80 or 85 Council of Ministers, we have a small group like 20 or 15 to 20 members. This is called as the Cabinet. Cabinet is a smaller one. What is the main role? The main role is to take the important decisions and then to make ease the business. So every time whatever the decision want to be taken, 82 members cannot be met. So that is why important people, important ministries, it is like a 5 to 15 members or 5 to 20 members. A small cabinet was within Council of Ministers, a cabinet was created to take the important decision in a faster manner, right. So that is the cabinet, and within cabinet we have a 3 types of ministers, that is cabinet minister who will take care of all the ministry. Even Prime Minister cannot involve in this decision of the cabinet minister. He is the one who is heading all the department completely. After that we have minister for state with independent charge. That means he is not a cabinet minister, he is not part of this cabinet minister. He is part of Council of Minister, but he is not part of cabinet. The ministries that are given will be taken care independently. That means above his there is no cabinet minister. Take example of Minister for State, independent charge for Ministry of Power, right. Power Ministry with the independent charge. There is no cabinet minister. It is a higher rank than this particular minister. He is just given with the independent charge, but he is not given with the cabinet rank. He was just given with the Council of Minister with the independent charge. And there is a one more thing, Ministry of State. Minister of State, there is no independent charge. That means there is already a cabinet minister who is managing the ministry, just he will be assisting the cabinet minister whatever activities. There will be 2-3 Ministry of State for each ministry. Say for example Ministry of Defence, Ministry of Home Affairs, those are all very important one. There will be 2 to 3 Ministry of States who can assist the the cabinet minister. They are also not part of this cabinet, they are just the Council of Ministers who will give information what is happening, and whatever the suggestions given, they will be taking care of the executive, that is IAS officers and all, they will take care. So this is the Ministry of State. So total 3 things are there. Council of Ministers is the bigger one, and then we have cabinet ministers, a small circle within Council of Ministers, and there is a other things out of cabinet. These are not within cabinet, rather they are part of Council of Ministers, right, who will be taking independent charge, and there will be Minister of States who will be assisting the main cabinet ministers for important ministries. So these are all the Council of Ministers, cabinet ministers, and then Ministry of State for independent charge, and then Ministers of State. So these are not independent charge, rather they will assist the crucial ministries. Any doubts in this? Don't confuse with this diagram. So you might have confused that I have drawn this within cabinet. This Minister of State, independent charge are not within cabinet, rather they are the Council of Ministers. They are not given with the cabinet minister rank, right. They are just having a independent charge. They won't attend the cabinet ministry meeting. Only the cabinet ministers which are having the highest rankings will be attending the cabinet. These are outside, so here it should be have mentioned, right. And the Minister of State also to assist the main ministers, which are Council of Ministers. Any doubts in this? This type of questions are frequently asked in the exam from polity. You have to have a clear knowledge over it. What is the difference and all? Any doubts? Fine. Let us move to the next one, that is heat waves. We have discussed few times, but anyway there is a other issue which was discussed in this particular article, Indian Express. The ongoing spell of extreme heat in the different parts of the country, you might have seen this summer that we have a extreme heats and there are many people who have died, right, but still this heat waves is not declared as one of the notified disasters under Disaster Management Act 2005. We have a Disaster Management Act in which 12 notified disaster weather like cyclones, floods and all, but heat waves are not part of one of the notified disasters. We will see the reasons also. So that is why this article discusses about what actually is a heat wave and why they are not part of the notified disasters, right. So before seeing the reasons why they are not part of the notified disaster under Disaster Management Act, let us see about the heat waves. So what is a heat wave? Heat wave is a abnormally high temperature. For example, 35 degrees is the normal average temperature of particular region. So if there is any jump like 40 degree, 45 degree, that means it is a extreme heat than the normal average one. So those are called as the heat waves. In coastal region, usually the maximum temperature departure is considered as a 4.5 degree. So if there is a 40 degree in the coastal region average, if it is going 44.5, right, 4.5 extra, then it is considered as a heat wave in the coastal region, right. And yes, more than normal, a heat wave may be described provided with the maximum temperature is 37 degrees. So at least 37 degrees has to be recorded in the coastal region, and beyond that if there is a deviation of 4.5 degree, then it can be considered as a heat wave in the coastal areas. And in the plains, that means the regions which usually are plain over the Deccan Plateau, Peninsular Plateau, all these things are even Ganges Plateau. So these are plains. So wherever there is a plains, then the normal maximum temperature, normal maximum, if it is going for above 40, then it is considered as a heat wave, or deviation of 4 to 5 degree. For example, there is a 35 degree average in the plains, but this year it has recorded 40 degrees, then it can be considered as a heat wave, right. And even if it is not deviation of 4 to 5 but recording 40 plus, then also it can be considered as a heat wave. So in the planar regions, either if it is above 40 or if the deviation of an average temperature there over the years crossing beyond 4 to 5, then it is considered as a heat wave itself, right. So that is one thing. And then in the hill regions, it is considered as a, so in the hill regions it is usually lower temperature. The hilly regions, it is usually the temperature is recorded as a low. So if the temperature is more than 5 to 6 degrees, then it is considered as a heat wave. Similarly, severe heat wave, this is a heat wave condition, and in case of severe heat wave, in case of the regions which are usually recording 40 plus, if the deviation is more than 6 degrees, then it is considered as a severe heat wave. So you just remember that in plains, if the deviation temperature is 4 to 5, it is considered as a heat wave, and if it is more than 6 degrees, it is considered as a severe heat wave. And in the hilly regions, if the temperature is going beyond 5 to 6 degrees extra, then it is considered as a heat wave, and in if it is going beyond 7 degrees, it is considered as a severe heat wave. So these are the conditions given by IMD, okay, these are given by IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, okay, these conditions are usually given by Meteorological Department. Now what is Disaster Management Act? This is also important for us. Disaster Management Act, this was passed after tsunami. You all know that in 2004 we had a tsunami which has affected the most of coastal regions, and beyond that Sri Lanka and other countries were also affected. So because of that we have passed the Disaster Management Act. Earlier there is no specific role for any of the individuals. There is certain group which will take care whenever disaster happen, but there is no responsibility. If something happens, something negative has happened, there is no person to ask for responsibility. But now disaster management has clearly mentioned different authorities who has to take responsibility if there is a disaster and there is a negative effect on disaster. So there will be some persons who will be responsible. So this is what the act says, right. It was established or passed after 2004 tsunami to manage the disaster in a much better way. And to implement this act, the act has created National Disaster Management Authority at the central level. So this is the central level, then state level we have different state, we have state disaster responsible authority, and then in each district we have a district disaster management authority. So national disaster management authority was the highest body to take decisions related to the disaster, and this is headed by Prime Minister, a very important one. Prime Minister heads this authority, but this authority was not kept under the Prime Minister office, rather it was kept under the Ministry of Home Affairs. This is very important difference to be understood. NDMA is under the Home Ministry, but it is not chaired by Home Minister, rather it is chaired by the Prime Minister. This difference is very important. Fine. So it contains the mechanisms for financial support as well. It has National Disaster Response Fund, a separate fund created by the central government. It also has State Disaster Response Fund, we will see. So this is the hierarchy of the organization. Disaster Management Act 2005. At the central level, we have National Disaster Responsibility Authority headed by the Prime Minister, PM, and then we have a state government. Under state government, we have a State Disaster Management Authority headed by Chief Minister. Here, it is not Home Minister, rather it is headed by the Chief Minister. Now, we have a District Management or District Disaster Responsibility Management Authority, which will be chaired by the DM, right. So it is district magistrate, like collector of that particular district. So these are the hierarchy of the organization which were created. Under collector we have some other small bodies which will be implementing the Disaster Management Act, right. Now what are the notified disasters? I hope you are following. What are the notified disasters? Notified disaster means those disasters which were mentioned under the Disaster Management Act, right. So there is a definition also for them given, that is catastrophe or mishap or calamity that has grave occurrence arising from the natural or man-made, like any grave situation that was created because of natural condition or man-made creation, then that can be considered as a notified disaster. So that is considered as a disaster, right, disaster definition. Now under this act, Disaster Management Act, total 12 category of disasters were notified. So whatever the disaster that has been notified under the Disaster Management Act, those are called as the notified disasters. Only 12 categories. This number is important for you to be remembered. So 12 categories has been mentioned, that includes cyclone, droughts, earthquake, fire, flood, tsunami, hailstorm, landslide, avalanche, cloudburst, pest attack, frost and cold waves. So these are all the ones, but they did not mention the heat waves. They have mentioned the cold waves, but they have not mentioned the heat waves, right. So during the disaster, if there is such disasters, any of these things, then this act can be invoked. There are two funds to support, that is National Disaster Response Fund and State Disaster Response Fund. So State Disaster Response Funds will be immediately using by the state governments. NDRF is only given only after, if it is a big disaster or if state governments has exceeded their money in the State Disaster Response Fund, right. In State Disaster Response Fund, 25% of the money has to be given by the state. For example, 100 crores are there, out of that 25 crores has to be given by the state. They have to, from their finances they have to keep aside, and rest of 75% is given by the central government. And if it is a National Disaster Responsible Fund, 100% is given by the government. NDRF is completely of the central government contribution, whereas in the State Disaster Response Fund there is a 25% contribution by the states. And if it is a special category states like northeast states, then it is only 10%, 90% will be given by the central government itself. So this is the funding mechanism. Now why heat waves are not included? This article discusses clearly about why it was not mentioned in the notified disaster, right. First thing is that these heat waves are mainly occurring in the summers, mostly, but it is not completely, but yes, mostly they are occurring only in the 1 or 2 months. So we know that this is happening in this only summer, so we can contain them. In other in other seasons there is no heat waves at all mostly, so that is why it was not included, first reason. Second reason is Finance Commission has not convinced that we require a separate funds for heat waves. We are already giving a disaster response funds for various funds, so they for various reasons we can use, the states can use the funds itself. So there is no reason to create a separate fund for a separate consideration for the heat waves. So this is what other reason. And second reason is if the heat waves are mentioned as a notified disaster, then for every death central government has to give 4 lakhs, right, if it is a notified disaster. Then in such situation there may be a mishap also, the person can be died not only because of heat waves, underlying causes like already is a weak person, then heat waves has aggravated it. So the funding will be huge, and also there is a chances of misuse by the states by mentioning that this number of heat waves deaths has happened and all. So that is why, because of all these things, the heat waves are not mentioned as a one of the notified disaster under Disaster Management Act. Any doubts in this? Okay. Let us move to the next article, that is Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. This is a very factual article, so not much to be understand, rather you have to remember it. You all know from the name itself, it is saying that Awas means house, so it is housing for all in the urban as well as rural areas, that is the objective. Now the context is government aims to provide to construct 3 crore new houses in the both urban and rural. After the forming of the new government, they have announced that they want to construct 3 crore houses in both the rural and urban areas, right. Yeah, let us see Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban. So this scheme is for urban areas. It was launched in 2015 by Ministry of Urban Affairs to provide housing for all weather condition houses want to provide by the year 2022 for all. For within 7 years they have aimed to construct housing for all, every individual whoever are there who required house will be constructed, but that was not achieved, even 30% was not achieved, right, and then it was extended till 31st December 2024. So we are just having 6 more months, but still it is lagging behind, they will extend again, right. So this is the thing. Now the mission gives women empowerment aspect as well. So the ownership of the house has to be on the name of the female or the joint ownership, at least one female member should be there, right. So it is promoting the women empowerment. Similarly, it is a centrally sponsored scheme, that means not 100% are given by the center. In central sector scheme 100% funds are given by the center, but in case of central sponsored scheme only 60% funds are given by the center, rest 40% the states has to mention, right. So that is one important thing. Also affordable rental housing complexes scheme, a sub scheme was launched under national Awas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban. It is not for rural, but it is only for urban. It aims to promote the rental houses, right, in the city areas. So this is about the thing. They will also provide like everything in the housing, everything will be included, clean water, all those things are also integrated. And next one, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin. It is implemented same with the same objective, housing for all by 2022, and it was implemented by Ministry of Rural Development. It is implemented by Rural Development. This was launched in 2016. This is not in 2015. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban is launched in 2015, but this was launched in 2016. Right? The aim is same, and Ministry of Rural Development will take care of this particular scheme. It provides only those people who are eligible to this, right, and the eligible people are from scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, women, and also people who are under poor, like people who are below 2.5 lakh criteria per annum. So all those people are eligible to get from the rural areas, and the data who can be eligible is following the state socio-economic caste census. So this census data was not released to public, but government have this data. Based on this data they are giving the scheme, or they are giving the support, right. This is also centrally sponsored scheme with 60-40% between the center and states, right. Any doubts? Very factual one anyway. Okay. Let us move to the last article for today, that is Atal Innovation Mission, very small article. Atal Innovation Mission. Niti Aayog has launched 2 new initiatives under Atal Innovation Mission, right. So Niti Aayog has launched 2 new initiatives under Atal Innovation Mission. We will see those 2, but before that let us understand what actually is a Atal Innovation Mission. It aims to promote innovation and entrepreneurship among the country youth. Like you all know that we have learned the theoretical knowledge, but we do not know the practical knowledge. The laboratories that we have done experiments during school as well as college is like outdated, and we also did not involve lot of practical learning. So to promote this entrepreneurship and practical learning, to also lead to the innovation ideas when to compete with the old countries, the Niti Aayog has come up with the Atal Innovation Mission, which was launched in 2016. This was launched in 2016. So it covers university, school, at school level, MSME, industry level. So for all the eligible criteria, they promote innovation, the practical knowledge, right. And then to promote the Atal Innovation Mission, Atal Tinkering Labs were launched in the schools between 6th to 12th, between 6th to 12th classes schools. Atal Tinkering Labs were created in main schools, so that they promote the innovation, they test the laboratory and then they promote the innovation, right. So these are also part of Atal Innovation Mission. Atal Tinkering Labs are part of Atal Innovation Mission. Now two new initiatives. One is Innovation Center Denmark. Innovation Center, with the help of Denmark itself, they have launched Water Challenge 4.0. So here whatever the innovation activities is to conserve the water. To conserve the water, they have launched the Innovation Center Denmark related to the water challenge. That is one new initiative. Next one is Innovations for You, Sustainable Development Goals Entrepreneurs. So here the innovation, the entrepreneurship should happen to protect the sustainable, to promote the sustainable development goals. We have a sustainable development goals which we have kept target to achieve by 2030, like no hunger, gender equality, right. So education for all, there are a lot of sustainable development goals. To promote them within our entrepreneurship, they have launched the Innovations for You, Sustainable Development Goals Entrepreneurs. So this is about the two new initiatives. Any doubts in this? Okay, let us move to the factual pointers before solving the questions. First one, State of World Fisheries and Aquaculture Report was recently released by Food and Agriculture Organization. Food and Agriculture Organization, this has headquarters at Italy, Rome, under the United Nations itself. It is part of United Nations network itself. They have released the report, and according to the report, it was said that the total fish production is 223.2 million tons. So this has to be remembered. 223.2 million tons of the total production has happened, right. And with the India is contributing out of this total 223.2 million tons, out of this India is contributing for 8%. So 8 by 100 into 223.2 million tons, you can multiply and calculate. So this is the India's contribution, and India is holding the second rank after China. After China, India is holding the second rank in the fisheries, right. This is what the report says. Next one, recently cold lava rushed through the streets of Mount Kunlun in Philippines. So you can see here, this is the cold lava. This is not the hot lava. Hot lava means we will lose our bones also, but cold lava is a lava which mixed, the normal lava is mixed with the water and then temperature is reduced. Of course there will be heat inside, a little bit heat, but it is mixed with the water, right, and then temperatures got reduced. So this has happened in the Philippines. Next one, the Indian traders, whoever the traders are there, they are demanding to open the Lipulek Pass. Lipulek Pass is here. Lipulek Pass is here. Indian traders are demanding that we should open this trade with the China. This is the pass, like a pathway, because Himalayas is a continuous mountains. There are certain breakages where we can pass. So through Lipulek Pass we used to have a trade with China, but during the COVID times it was closed. So that's why now they are demanding to open the Lipulek Pass. This is located in the tri-junction of India, China and Nepal in the Indian state of Uttarakhand, right. So this they are demanding to open. Next one, recently a study has found that artificial sweetener xylitol, right. So this is an artificial sweetener. So it is say the study has proved that this can cause the sugar, diabetes and all. So they may ask you what is xylitol. So it is nothing but the artificial sweetener, fine. So this is a dangerous to health, this is the fact. So this is all for today's session. Now let us see some practice questions. Any doubts? If you have, please do let me know. First question, this was asked in the UPSC 2019 Civil Services Prelims. 2019 Civil Service Prelims, this was asked, very direct question. Atal Innovation Mission is set up under Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Labour and Employment, Niti Aayog, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So, what is the answer for this? This is a very direct one, that is Niti Aayog, right. So, the answer is Niti Aayog, very direct question. Correct, Srinath, Santosh, Jashwant. Next question, Lipulek Pass is located in which of the following Indian states? Lipulek Pass is located in which of the following Indian states? Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh. So, we have seen it is a tri-junction of India, Nepal, China and in the state of Uttarakhand. Again a very direct question, Uttarakhand. Correct, Santosh, Jashwant and Srinath. Now comes the challenging questions. So, first two questions are easy. Now, let us see who will answer the difficult questions. Consider the following statements about the Speaker of Lok Sabha. Which of the following statements about the Speaker of Lok Sabha is correct? About the Speaker of Lok Sabha, they are asking the which statements are correct. First statement, the post of Speaker cannot be occupied by anyone other than the members who have already been elected to the Lok Sabha. So, this is the first statement, that only those person who has already elected to Lok Sabha can be appointed as a speaker, only those can be appointed. To remove the speaker, the House must pass a resolution with the majority of total members of the House excluding the vacancies. So, this is the second statement. Third, the speaker cannot vote in any of the decisions of the House if a resolution is already passed by the House to remove him. So, it says that if there is already a resolution to remove him from his post, so he cannot vote in that instances. So, what are all the correct statements among this? First one, the post of speaker cannot be occupied by anyone other than the members who has already been elected to Lok Sabha. Yes, this is a mandatory. Only those who have already been elected to Lok Sabha can be elected as a speaker. So, first statement is correct. To remove the speaker, the House must pass the resolution with the majority of total members of the House excluding vacancies, correct. But just to remove vacancies, that is all. If either you present or not, that does not matter. Only vacancies are removed and then majority is calculated. So, second statement is correct. Then comes the third statement, the speaker, so 1, 2 should be there. So, now we have eliminated, the answer should be A or D, right. The speaker cannot vote in any of the decisions of the House if the resolution is already passes to the House to remove him. No, he cannot vote only if he is sitting in the speaker position. If the resolution is passed already put in front to remove him, he cannot act as a speaker, deputy speaker will act, he will sit as a normal person, normal MP. Yes, he can vote in the normal MP case. Only in case of he is sitting as a speaker, then only he cannot vote. Else if he is sitting as a normal member, then he can be he can vote during the passage of the bills. So, if there is a resolution already put in front to remove the speaker, so speaker cannot sit as a speaker position, deputy speaker will occupy. So, the speaker will be a normal person, that means he can vote, right. So, this is the wrong statement. So, the answer is 1 and 2. So, answer, who has answered this? Santosh and Keshav have answered this correct, fine. Next question, this is again taken from UPSC Civil Services 2017. UPSC Civil Services 2017, this question was taken about cabinet. Out of the following statements, choose the one that brings out the principle underlying the cabinet form of government. So they are saying what is the principle in appointing the cabinet form of government. So that means indirectly they are saying what is the role of cabinet in the parliamentary form of government. The cabinet is arrangement for minimizing the criticism against the government whose responsibilities are complex and hard to carry out to satisfy all. So this is the reason they have cabinet, they have formed the cabinet, they are saying. Second one, a mechanism for speeding up the activities of the government whose responsibilities are increasing day by day. So day by day the activities of government is increasing, to reduce their burden, to speed up the process, they are saying that cabinet will be there. A mechanism of parliamentary democracy for ensuring collective responsibilities of the government to the people. Collective responsibility of the government to the people. So next one, a device for strengthening the hands of head of the government who hold the over the people in the state of decline. So it is saying that it is just to handle the government where which the government role is decreasing or the quality of government is declining among the people's view. So just to strengthen it, it was appointed. So which one is the most suitable one? A can be eliminated, it is not logically correct. An arrangement minimizing the criticism, this is not to reduce the criticism of the government. So A can be eliminated, and so this is also removed. This is also not to satisfy any people or something. So you might be doubt between the B and C. B and C might be the issue. So B also seems to be correct. Most of the people that time has also answered B, but the actual answer is C. This is the most appropriate because it is the cabinet whichever is happening or whichever is working. So it is the one which is responsible mainly to the parliament. So to uphold the collective responsibility of the government to the people, people here means legislature also, this cabinet form of government is provided, right. So it also indirectly speeds up the process, but not exactly the constitution has mentioned this. This is the element of the constitution mentioned. So yes, Santosh and Keshav have answered this as correct, right. The last question for today, consider the following statements regarding heat waves, about the heat waves. Heat wave is one of the notified disaster under National Disaster Management Act of 2005, right. So they are saying that heat wave is notified as a disaster under the National Disaster Management Act. Next one, National Disaster Management Authority declares heat waves in India based on the temperature. So they are saying that National Disaster Management Authority declared heat waves in India based on the temperature. Second statement. Third, they can occur only in the summer season. So these are the three statements. So what is the answer for this? First one, heat waves are not notified any of the disaster, right. So till now it is not part of any of the notified disaster. 12 notified disasters were mentioned, but these are not part. So this is eliminated, one is eliminated. Second one, National Disaster Management Authority declares heat waves in India based on the temperature. No, this is declared by IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, right. So second statement is also wrong. Third, they can occur only in summer season. No, they can occur in any season. If the temperature margin is going than average, they can occur in any of the regions. So this is also wrong, and hence answer is D. So this is all of today's session. If you like, please do like and subscribe the video. Only with the active participation we can continue the current affairs sessions. So if there is a less people, it is very difficult for us to continue. So please do spread this to your friends as well, and if you have liked the video, please do share this. Thanks a lot. Have a great evening.